With me now is U.S. Congressman Ted Deutch, Democrat from Florida, whose district includes Parkland High School. Well, you're the expert. You know what you face. How are you going to get, let's talk turkey here. How are you going to get the Republican Speaker of the House, the massively overrated Paul Wright? And I mean, nobody gets better press than him. He's not going to let a gun control or safety bill on the floor, is he? Even a vote. That's what he does. He protects his members from a vote.
He does. You know what the message was today, Chris? The message to Paul Ryan specifically was, you can move forward on the common sense gun safety legislation that has broad bipartisan support throughout the country, or you won't be speaker anymore. That was the message today. These kids who
But he cares more about the Freedom Caucus than he does you guys, right?
He cares a lot about being speaker. And I'll tell you what, if he's not prepared to allow the bipartisan universal background check bill to come to the floor for a vote, the bipartisan 21 to buy a gun bill to come to the floor for a vote, common sense measures like that, then these students who are so energized are going to show up in races all across the country and vote out. They said it over and over again. They're going to show up and they're going to vote out the people who stand in the way of
Should
progress.
These people out here today, young people, most of them, should they be optimistic that you're right, that there'll be a vote this summer perhaps on the 21-year-old minimum age for buying a firearm?
Yeah, no, I'm not telling them to be optimistic about that. I'm telling them to be optimistic about the power that they have that was on full display today, the power that says we need action now, but if we don't see it, then we're going to come out in droves in the election. Chris, they're creating single-issue voters for themselves, for their generation, for their parents. That they're creating single-issue voters? Yeah. You bet I am. Look, these kids, the kids from Stoneman Douglas, who understand how important it is to work with students from all across the country who face gun violence on a regular basis, these kids who have seen carnage that no one should ever have to experience, they understand what's at stake here. They want to be safe. They're tired of politicians telling them that there's some extremist view of the Constitution that prevents them from taking action.
What about the people on the gun rights right wing that say there's a bunch of socialist grown-ups behind these kids? You've heard the rap.
Oh yeah, they're
all being put up to this.
They were doing it again today, that this is all extremist. Let me tell you something.
Well, the kids are not accused of being extremists. There's these these furtive figures in the background they keep alluding to.
Yeah, you know why they have to do that? Because they can't attack. They tried attacking the kids first, remember, and then that was just so outrageous they had to stop. Now they're looking for any way to try to discredit what happened. They can't.
That's not, I got to tell you something.
They cannot do it.
I'm answering my own question, but I want you to extrapolate on it. I am overwhelmed by these, especially the young women, the girls. I am overwhelmed by their honest. Some of the guys were a little more, perhaps, in the way they talk more politically. But the ones who are talking from their gut, literally the one who threw up, I go, this is for real. This isn't somebody who wrote a little something and wants to show off. This is somebody who feels in their gut, literally, the importance of this issue, that young woman.
Who is a gun violence survivor.
Yeah.
That's why Samantha was able to stand there on stage, start her speech. She was so caught up by the moment, she lost it, and then pulled herself together because she knew that her peers and her school and her country needed to hear what she was saying.
That's what I'm going to remember today, that young woman. Her name's Samantha. I'm going to remember her because, you know, all your life you hear about jocks in the locker room before a game, they get butterflies, you know. They get so upset. Bob Hope, the great entertainer, would get upset and throw up before big performances. I know what it means. It means you are out to do your absolute best, and this is so important to you. And this is it in your life. And to do that, when she did that, I go, my God, this is a person whose total being is here.
It means that they're not reading lines, they're not using talking points, they're just being themselves.
And when she said, I just threw up and I feel great. I'm sorry, I've never heard that said before quite so eloquently. U.S. Congressman Ted Deutch of Florida, representing Florida's own, well, Parkland. You'll not have to explain that to people. They're always going to know what that means. Thank you. Up next, it was